The giant fish hauls pulled up from the seabed by giant nets always bring a feeling of both awe and excitement. Each wave crashing, each seabird soaring above seems to signal a magnificent moment about to happen. When the winches start to turn, the net slowly rises to the surface of the water. The whole space suddenly focuses on the moving water curtain. From deep below, a giant black mass begins to appear, heavy but full of life, like a secret just revealed from the ocean floor. Cheers! The sound of engines blend with the splashing sound of water. Fish jump, silver scales shimmering in the sunlight, making the whole space seem to be covered with a layer of shimmering glitter. People not only see fish, but also a giant flow of life, swirling, struggling in the narrow net. Each strong splash is a small splash, and each tight pull of the rope is a resonance between humans and nature. The image of fish as big as an arm, sometimes a meter long, crowded in the net makes viewers unable to take their eyes off. Some still try to rush forward, even though they are surrounded on all sides. Some are silent. Breathing heavily, their eyes seem to reflect the helplessness in the vast ocean now compressed in a narrow space. It is this struggle that creates complex emotions, both admiration for the abundance of the ocean and pity for the creatures that have to end their journey of freedom. The fishermen, with sunburned faces and calloused hands, still diligently control the net. Shouting rhythmically. For them, this is a treasure, the result of many days and nights of drifting. Every time the net is full, their eyes light up, their smiles are radiant, as if all the hardships and storms are suddenly dispelled. In that moment, the ocean is not only a harsh place, but also a generous mother, giving people enormous gifts. When the catch was poured onto the deck, a shower of scales and water spilled across the deck. The fish lay piled up, mouths agape, fins spread out, creating a breathtakingly vivid picture. Viewers seemed to be lost in another world, where the richness of the ocean was fully displayed. Both majestic and fierce, and whether witnessing it for the first time or already familiar, that moment still made people's hearts beat fast. Their eyes couldn't take their eyes off. Their imaginations surged like the rolling waves in the open sea. Each time the giant net was pulled up, viewers seemed to be drawn into a symphony between the power of the ocean and the resilience of humans. The sound of the wind whistling in their ears, the sound of the waves crashing violently against the side of the ship, mixed with the sound of the fish splashing vigorously like a rapid chorus. The whole scene was no different from a great play, in which nature and fishermen together created a surprising ending. One cannot predict how huge the net will be, how many fish it will contain, and that is what keeps the audience glued to the screen. The big fish weighing up to several dozen kilograms were lifted out of the water. Their bodies glistening in the sunlight, looking like silver metal bars. Some struggled so hard that the net shook. Water splashed like rain. Some jumped into the air for a brief moment, then fell like an arrow, making people both surprised and admiring that fierce vitality. It was that struggle that made the catch not only a yield, but also a lively performance, where the audience saw the indomitable spirit of the ocean. On the deck, the fishermen ran back and forth, controlling the winch, tying the corners of the net. and quickly scooping the fish into the holding tank. Sweat beaded on their foreheads mixed with the salty sea breeze. But their eyes were still bright, full of joy. It is not just a job, but a flesh and blood bond with the sea. With every breath of the waves, every flow of the ocean currents, each fish that reaches the shore is a small victory, accumulating into a great feat, feeding many families on the faraway shore. Not only stopping at the overwhelming quantity, the giant catches of fish also evoke many stories behind. Behind that rich beauty is the harshness that fishermen have to face, sleepless nights in the midst of big waves and strong winds. Times when the nets are torn and cannot catch anything, or long trips drifting without a single phone signal. Therefore, each moment the net is lifted up, heavy with fish, is not only an achievement, but also a worthy reward for the silent sacrifice at sea. Viewers, even if just sitting in front of the screen, can easily feel that joy spreading. The sight of thousands of silver-scaled fish, jostling and rolling in the hold like a living river, makes everyone feel as if they are standing on the deck, witnessing the wonder with their own eyes. It is this intensity, richness and overwhelmingness that makes videos of giant trawls so irresistible, a blend of drama, aesthetics and emotion. When the catch was brought to the deck, that moment was like a wave of emotions. The fish covered the entire deck, each layer of silver scales glittering, reflecting the sunlight, making the whole space bright like a vivid painting. Viewers not only saw a huge mass of fish, but also felt the abundance and prosperity of the ocean. The chaotic sounds, the sound of fish flapping their fins, the sound of water splashing, the shouts of fishermen, all blended into a hurried, vibrant rhythm, making the scene both hurried and majestic. The giant fish, a meter long, weighing tens of kilograms, when lifted out of the water were like precious trophies. Each strong swing of the fish's tail caused a splash of water. Making the whole hull of the ship shake. Sometimes, there were fish that suddenly jumped, soared out of the water and then fell back down, creating a moment that made the whole deck shake. It is these unexpected movements that make the catch not only a harvest, but also a lively, dramatic performance. In every look, every smile of the fisherman, viewers clearly see happiness, after many days of struggling with the wind and waves. This is a worthy achievement. The calloused hands, the bent backs due to the weight of the net, all seem to disappear when they witness the ship gradually filling up with fish. It is not only a source of income, but also a testament to the bond between humans and the ocean. Between hard work and priceless rewards from nature, each film of the giant catch is like an adventure that the audience accompanies. Viewers go from excitement, anticipation, to bursting into surprise and satisfaction. The drama does not lie in the dialogue, but in the vibrant images, the deep blue sea, the heavy, bulging net, and the explosive moment when the whole school of fish appears before their eyes. It is a genuine, primitive emotion that any movie can hardly reproduce completely. The more you watch, the more you are drawn into the whirlpool of emotions, both admiring the strength of humans and admiring the majesty of nature. And then, when the last catch is collected, the whole deck is filled with life. We realize that every sea voyage is not only a journey to make a living, but also a journey of conquest, conquering challenges, conquering our own limits. And when the hold is gradually filled with fish, we can clearly feel the change in the atmosphere. At first, there is tension, anticipation, eyes following each rotation of the net winch. But as soon as the silver light begins to appear, the atmosphere suddenly explodes. Vibrant like a festival, fish fall like waterfalls, seawater flows all over the deck, And the people on board are not tired at all. But on the contrary, they become more excited. It was a moment of surprise, excitement, satisfaction, and pride. Each fish was not only a source of food, but also a symbol of the power of the ocean. Some looked like shiny steel blocks, while others sparkled blue and pink under the afternoon sunlight. When they wriggled together, the entire deck seemed to transform into a miniature ocean, where the flow of life was still swirling and vibrant. Viewers on the screen could easily feel that passion, as if they could just reach out and touch the swirling fish right before their eyes. The fishermen, in clothes that had darkened from the salty sea, still worked tirelessly. They used auxiliary nets, iron shovels, and even their bare hands to move the giant fish, herding them into the holds. Each movement was both rough and precise, demonstrating skills that had been honed over many years. Looking at them, we understand that behind a full catch of fish is a treasure trove of experience, consensus and harmony in every step, every coordinated chant. For the audience, those films are not simply images of labor. They are proof of the majesty of nature, of the inseparable bond between humans and the ocean. Maybe for a few seconds, we see the fierceness of the fish struggling, but immediately after that is the warmth when the fishermen laugh together, their eyes shining with the results. It is this contrast that creates a special attraction, making people want to watch it again and again after watching it once. The longer the video goes on, the more it seems to take viewers on a never-ending journey. From the moment the net is still deep in the sea, to the appearance of the giant fish, and finally the scene of the entire boat covered in silver scales, all of it forms a complete circle of emotions. Viewers not only witness, but also breathe, shout, and rejoice with the fishermen. That is the power of real footage. The power of truth recorded through sweat, labor, and love for the ocean. As the time went on, as the rhythm of pulling the net became familiar, the audience gradually fell into a special fascination. Each turn of the winch was a heart-pounding beat. Each time the net was bulging was a step closer to the moment of explosion. Viewers were no longer just waiting for the fish, but waiting for that explosion of emotions. The kind of emotions that cannot be found in any other entertainment program. When the giant fish began to appear, the light reflected on thousands of silver scales turned the entire scene into a moving sea of stars, making us feel like we were seeing the whole sky falling onto the sea. The fish were as big as living rocks, thrashing violently in the short moment before being put into the hold. The sound of splashing water, the sound of fins flapping, combined with the fishermen's loud cheers, created a vivid epic about labor and the sea. There is no script, no actors. Everything is raw, genuine, and that is what creates the irresistible attraction. On the fishermen's faces, we see clearly each layer of emotion, tension mixed with excitement when waiting for the net to rise. Joy when seeing the first fish appear, and finally the burst of joy when the boat is full of life. Those smiles, those bright eyes, are worth more than any words, because they tell a great story, a story of perseverance, a flesh and blood bond with the sea, and pride in the achievements after many days of struggling with the waves. The viewer, through the screen, seems to be immersed in that collective. Every time the net is pulled up, we feel our hearts beat faster. Every time the fish jumps out of the water, we are startled as if we were standing right there. This empathy makes the video not just a recorded film, but a vivid experience, a fully shared emotional journey. That's why, the more we watch, the harder it is to take our eyes off. The more we want to follow until the last moment to fully witness the majesty of the ocean. And when the afternoon sunlight falls, shining on the boat's hold full of fish, the whole scene becomes like an epic painting. People and nature, labor and achievements, all blend together. It is not only the end of a fishing trip, but also the beginning of a new story, the story of the next journey, of other giant catches waiting ahead, and of the endless love that fishermen have for the ocean. And so, each turn of the winch pulled the mass of life from the depths to the surface of the water, as if the ocean was opening its heart to give away its wealth. Each sound of fish splashing echoed in the air, mixed with the resounding cheers of the fishermen, making the entire ship seem to turn into a giant stage, where nature and humans sang together in a dramatic song. The sunlight reflected on the sparkling silver scales, creating brilliant rays of light like fireworks in the middle of the day. The audience in front of the screen seemed to be completely drawn into that flow. There was no longer any distance between the viewer and the performer. Only the urgent beat, only the excitement spread. Each time the fish fell onto the deck, it was a shower of splashing scales. Salt water mixed with sweat, laughter mixed with the sound of the waves, all creating a majestic cinematic scene that no director could stage. It was that very primitiveness that created the captivating attraction. Because here there was no arrangement, only authenticity, only the power of the universe, the end of the ocean and the tireless will of man. So that when the ship's hold is filled with fish, when each giant fish lies still in the net, people clearly see the harmony between two worlds. One side is the wild ocean, the other side is the resilient working hands. And at that moment, the viewer realizes that this is not just a fishing trip, this is an epic of life, a testament to the perseverance of people living with the sea, fighting the sea and being rewarded by the sea, so that when the night gradually falls, the ship is heavily laden with the silver light of fish and the pride of fishermen. Closing a long day but opening an endless story, that tomorrow, far out at sea, there will be a new catch, a new miracle, and once again the viewer's heart beats with each turn of the winch, with each white-capped wave, with each sparkling fish scale in the dawn sun.